So yo guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Basically, if you don't know me, my name is Isaiah Moses. Currently I'm a second year sixth form student that's literally just finished their final year at sixth form and hoping to go to university at the end of the year. And this video is basically explaining my experience, my interview experience at Imperial College London. While looking through YouTube, there's not many videos on Imperial College London from the actual student's perspective, so I thought I might as well fill that gap. Right now, we're going to be talking about my interview experience at Imperial. Basically, I'm just going to talk about the day, how I got there, how I felt, and what actually went down in the interview experience, because that's what people would know, the details of the interview experience. So let me start. It was the 29th of January, and on the day, me and my mom drove to my grandma's house first, because she lives in Neasden, and there's a tube station literally like right next to her house. So we drove to my grandma's house and we walked to the tube station. From there, we took, I think it was 2 or 3 lines that went straight to South Kensington. When we got to South Kensington, we were actually a bit lost at first, but we eventually made our way to, I think it was one of the, I can't remember which building, but it was one of the building's receptions, and we asked them, oh, where's the mechanical engineering centre? That's what I applied for, mechanical engineering. And yeah, they told us, oh, it's just like 10 minutes away down this road. We eventually got there, we found the building, and yeah, that's when I said goodbye to my mom. She went off to the museums, and I went into the building to have my interview. So I got in there, there was a group of people just standing in the foyer area. I asked a couple of them, oh, where's the applicants? And they said, oh yeah, just follow me. So I went up this elevator and I went into this room. Now in this room, there was probably about 40 to 45 people there, all applying to the same degree as me. All of them had the interview at the same day as me as well. So yeah, those are the applicants. From there, we had a short 30-minute to probably about an hour lecture from this professor that went there. He did biomedical sciences or biological engineering, something along the lines of biology combined with engineering. He gave us a lecture on that, just explaining like what he felt engineering was. So we listened to that for about an hour. And then came the interviews. So then we were split up into smaller groups depending on the time of our interview. I think most universities do this. So they split us up into, I think it was 4 groups, and then within those 4 groups there was like 7 different time slots. And then when it was your time slot to go to the interview, that's when you would just go. If it wasn't your turn, you would just stay in the room and I guess you would just chat to people. Or you would go on a tour. Yeah, there was tours going on as well during the interview. So yeah, if it wasn't your turn, you would either stay in the room or you would go on a tour. So when it was my turn, yeah, I think they just called my name, oh, Isaiah, it's your turn. Then we went down this corridor and into this small room, looked like an office basically. Probably no bigger than your bedroom right now. And yeah, in that room there was a lecturer. He opened the door for me. I shook his hand, yeah, he said take a seat, and that's when the interview started. Now this was my second interview of my whole UCAS application. So I was nervous obviously, but I didn't know what to expect, because the first one I had was at Loughborough University. I was told that the Loughborough interview is going to be completely different to Imperial, because at Loughborough they don't ask academic questions, but in Imperial they definitely do. So I didn't know what to expect. So I sat down. The first question he asked me, I think, was, oh, how are you? Just to like settle me in, kind of like a little icebreaker. How am I feeling? Do I have any questions? Stuff like that, like the general questions. Then he went straight into the personal statement question. No, it wasn't the personal statement question. It was like the general, oh, why did you choose Imperial? Or why did you choose mechanical engineering? Them type of general questions. So I answered them as best as I can. It wasn't the perfect answer, but I answered the best that I can. Then he asked me the academic questions. So these were like 7 the interview, because everyone got different questions. Everyone got different percentages of like academic to personal statement questions. My one, I would probably say, is about 80% academic questions, 20% personal statement questions. So the 7 questions that he asked me was, can you find the coefficient of friction for a block on a slope? Can you draw these 3 graphs, and can you differentiate those 3 graphs? Those are the 7 main questions I was asked. And talking to other people as well, most people got similar or the same type of questions that they had to answer. Like one of my friends, she was asked to use quotient rule on an equation to differentiate. We've done this before. Like I've done it before many times in questions that we've done in school. So that was fine. That was completely fine. Then came the 3 drawing the graph questions. So the first one was sine of x, y equals sine of x. People that do maths, you should be able to do this. If you don't, you need to practice your maths. Then it was arc sine of x. From that one, I had to do a bit of a trick. I had to do a bit of a tricksy one. So you know it was y equals sine of x. So all you have to do is do sine of both sides. So it's sine of y equals x, and then draw sine of y, or do the same sine of y equals sine of x graph, but just change around the axes of x and y. Because you'll do x equals sine of y, which is just y equals sine of x, but the axes have just switched over. So that was fine. We've done that in school as well, so that was fine. Final graph I had to draw was 1 over sine of x. Yeah, this one I have done before, but obviously because of the nerves of the interview and just general pressure of being in an interview of a university that you want to go to, I was just like, how do you actually do this? And it completely slipped my mind. So I started off doing the graph, then I think I went wrong somewhere. I said, I don't know where to go from here. Then he started asking me like, okay, where's like the maximum point of the graph? So I was like, okay, yeah, it's just here, isn't it? Then he was like, okay, so what does that mean then? What does that mean for the graph? And so, okay, that's when it clocked in my head how to draw it. So yeah, I drew the graph, or one part of the graph actually, and then the rest of the graph just came to me, and that was fine. The next 3 questions were to differentiate those 3 graphs. So differentiating y equals sine of x, that's just cos of x. That was fine. Differentiating arc sine of x. That one you have to do a bit of switch around in the 2 sides. So when I said y equals sine of x is the same as sine of y equals x. From there you use what do you call it again? Okay, I forgot what it was called. It's probably going to be on the screen somewhere, but yeah, you basically doing differentiation, but with y's. That was okay. Then came the 1 over sine of x. So the way that I did it, I treated it as y equals sine of x all to the power of -1, which is the same as 1 over sine of x. And then I used chain rule from there, which is relatively simple. And that was the final academic question. Then, yeah, from there, that was pretty much the end of the interview. Just asked me, do you have any questions? I did have a question. It wasn't a very academic question. I just thought it would be nice to ask. So at the time, I was just playing with Lego and seeing what I can do with Lego. And I asked him, do you have any other kind of toys that I can play with during my time at school, in my spare time, that can help me get the grips of engineering, to kind of help me for university. And he suggested something called a Raspberry Pi, and I still haven't looked into it. I still don't know what it is. I'm sure some of you do, but I don't know what it is. And I will eventually look into it, and I will eventually build something from the Raspberry Pi, whatever it is. But yeah, he just said a Raspberry Pi. I was like, okay, that's fine then. And I kind of explained why I asked the question as well. But yeah, from there, we were just like, okay, that's the end of the interview. If you have any questions, you can just email the university, or you can go on the website, all the information is there, stuff like that. And yeah, we shook hands and I left. That was the end of the interview. And yeah, after that, obviously, I think like most people, at the interview, at the university that I want to go to, most people are going to feel a bit insecure about the interview because they always think about the negative bits of the interview rather than the positive bits. That's exactly what I was doing. Thinking about, oh no, I didn't answer this question as well as I could, say for the like the general start of the interview questions. Like I didn't answer them as well as I could, as well as I've been practicing as well at home. So obviously I was thinking, oh no, I haven't got the place, definitely 100% I haven't got the place. But that just goes to show that, you know, usually after an interview you've probably done a lot better than you think. So yeah, after I talked with a few people in that small room once everyone was finished with the interview. Yeah, I think we had like another small talk, like a 30-minute talk with another lecturer, and yeah, that was the end of the day. I think the whole day was probably like 2.5 to 3 hours long. Yeah, it was probably about 2.5 hours to 3 hours long. And yeah, to be honest, it was quite a chilled day. It was a lot more chilled than I thought it would be, considering it was a university that I really wanted to go to. It was relatively chilled and relatively, you know, laid back. Obviously there were some nervous people in the room, but you know, it was relatively laid back. And yeah, that was my interview experience. Yeah. So if you guys wanna, you know, if you have any questions about, you know, my Newcastle experience or the university that I applied to, grades that I got for GCSEs, A levels, anything like that, yeah, I'll answer them whenever. You know, send me a message or comment or whatever you do on YouTube, and yeah, I'll be sure to answer it. I'll probably make another video like this. So, you know, that's the end of the video. So I don't know how to end the video, so I'm gonna say goodbye.